Hello everyone, Emperor Tigerstar here, and I decided to give myself a light week for my birthday, so instead of a normal video, I figured I'd make a video on something I've wanted to talk about for a while: sponsorships. I'm fortunate enough to not just do YouTube as a hobby, but to also make it my job. It's nice being able to pay bills doing something you enjoy, and one of the ways that happens is through sponsorships. But it's very easy to not know what goes on with sponsorships, and there can be a lot of misconceptions with how they work. There are also a lot of problems that come with them, so I figured why not make a video explaining my personal experience with sponsorships and how they've worked for me, while also including short testimonies from fellow history channels, the Cynical Historian, and Mr. Beat. In case you're somehow not sure of what a sponsorship is, in the case of YouTube, a sponsorship is simply when a company agrees to give someone money to advertise their product. Simple as that. Unlike YouTube ads, which are built in and not a part of the video, sponsorships are in the video, with the YouTuber narrating it. In fact, here's an example of a sponsorship. Yes, I'm seriously including a sponsorship in a video about sponsorships. You saw the disclaimer at the beginning, you shouldn't be surprised. Anywho, this video is sponsored by Ridge. You're probably expecting me to talk about their wallets, and those are great, but not this time. This time I'm talking about a newer product of theirs, the Ridge key case. Most of you who have keys probably use a ring, a loud, jangly, annoying ring. But you're used to it, right? I was at least, but when given a Ridge key case, it solved a problem I didn't even know I had. It can fit up to 6 keys and they fit inside it like a Swiss Army knife. Even better, just like the Ridge wallet, it has several designs and I got one matching my own Ridge wallet. I never get the noise anymore, and even better, I never get that weird moment where you squat or walk a certain way and the key accidentally stabs your leg. Don't get that anymore. If you use the code EMPEROR with the link below, you can get 10% off an order of your own key case. And seriously, get one. Thanks again to Ridge for sponsoring this video. Part of the appeal of sponsorships is that if someone you like watching is advertising a product, then you'd be more likely to consider buying whatever it is the person is advertising. Take the sponsorship I just did. You can see me with the product itself, and if you followed my channel, you know I've sponsored Ridge many times. In my case, I legitimately enjoy my Ridge wallet and Ridge key case. I use them every day, so this is a case of a sponsorship where I'm being sincere. But of course, you don't have to be sincere with sponsorships. An advertisement is an advertisement. While a sponsorship can be a personal endorsement, and it gives the impression of a personal endorsement, it doesn't have to be. That disclaimer at the beginning is a legal requirement for sponsorships for this reason. It tells the audience, hey, the person talking about this product got money from them to say it, so they may not be endorsing it personally. Naturally, for some YouTubers though, this could lead to a personal conflict. You may not be comfortable with sponsoring certain products. Maybe it's a principled thing. Maybe it's just not right for your channel. Some YouTubers only want to endorse products they actually use or would use if they needed it. For others, it's just business. They'll sponsor whatever. Many, of course, are a mix of both. In my personal case, I currently am more picky with my sponsors. Either I genuinely love the product and use it, or the product is something that I can at least understand the appeal of and support the idea of it, even if I don't personally use it, or maybe a sponsorship is just so neutral and harmless it doesn't matter. But there are sponsorships that I have turned down because I either don't like it, or it didn't fit the channel, or there were way too many restrictions. I will get into those problems later, but first I want to talk about how the process of acquiring sponsorships works. So I wish I had a direct answer for what size you have to be or what statistics you need to get sponsorships. It depends on what the sponsorship is looking for. I've seen channels way smaller than mine get sponsorships. I've seen some around my size that never get offers. My first sponsorship was in 2018 when I was at around 175,000 subscribers. In the case of every sponsorship offer I've gotten so far, whether I accepted or rejected them, it was because they reached out to me. There might be some way to seek sponsorships out, but I have never tried that. I get emails of offers and then of course I decide on whether to accept it or not. I think that one aspect that most viewers may not realize is that in most cases I'm not talking directly to a company. I'm usually emailing with an agent. Often there are third-party agents who email you the offer. They tell you who their client is, basically the company, the general idea of what they want, such as how long the sponsorship is and what time of year they want it uploaded. Many times they say they're organizing a campaign where you'll happen to be releasing a sponsorship at the same time as a bunch of other YouTubers across, say, a month. If you respond you're interested, they'll ask for your price, and then they sometimes ask for your channel demographics, like what age groups watch your channel, male versus female, which countries, that sort of thing. If those demographics don't match the ones that they think are good for the product, they may go never mind and retract their offer. Many times I've been outright ghosted at this step. Or they'll say, great, we'll send more details, and then they never do and still ghost me. I'd like to say that this happens to about a quarter of the sponsorships I've said yes to. In terms of price, I have a minimum and I stick with it. Sponsorships may offer more, they may ask for less, but I won't go below the minimum. If a sponsorship makes the price offer first, they often offer less than they're willing to pay if you press them. Since I enjoy being able to afford to live in an apartment and not have to worry about rent, my minimum is basically the equivalent of a little over a month's rent. Keep in mind, I live in rural Missouri, not like California, so that's not a lot of money, but I'm happy with that minimum. If a video gets demonetized for whatever reason or doesn't perform very well, at the very least I don't have to worry about paying rent. The highest sponsorship I've gotten for a single sponsorship was about 2.5 months rent. Sometimes they'll offer me a higher amount of money, but to do multiple sponsorships across a period of time. Sometimes they'll give you a slightly lower offer, but then provide a free sample of their product. Sometimes the payment instead of a flat amount is conditional to the views of the video or how many people click the sponsorship link. I've tried my hand at all three of those type of sponsorships at least once. If the sponsorship does accept, then they'll send the details of what they want, how they plan to pay you, and then of course, there's more often than not a contract of some kind. They want to keep track of their official business transactions after all, but of course sometimes these requirements and contracts can lead to issues. So now let's get into what can suck about sponsorships. Part of the reason I have my minimum is because sponsorships may ask a lot from you, and it can be mentally exhausting for a few reasons. I'm not going to mention any specific names, but I will give general examples of some of the things that have been frustrating to me in the past. Some sponsors want you to mention specific talking points, or in some cases have footage of their product in the sponsorship, but some are vague in their details while others want a billion things. Sometimes they'll email you folders of B footage already made, which can make making the sponsorship a lot easier. Other times they give you nothing, and you have to seek it out yourself. While that in of itself isn't bad, it can be frustrating if the sponsorship requires pre-approval. A lot of times they'll want to see the sponsorship in the video an X number of days before going live. I've had as low as 48 hours, as high as a week. Maybe they say a week ahead of time but approve it early. Either way, this requires you to get the entire video done before you can get the sponsorship approved. They want to see where it is in the video and if you talked the amount of time and talking points they wanted you to. However, if they don't like it, they'll ask you to redo it. Sometimes in the contract you sign, it'll specifically state they have the right to ask a maximum of 3 redos before it goes live. This can be frustrating not only because they are sometimes vague with what they want and just give general yeses or nos, but also at many times they may not respond for 24 to 48 hours. As a result, I've had several videos delayed from their scheduled release because they didn't give approval until after the video was supposed to go live. And of course, this often kills the algorithm for the video. In particular, I used to do a few gaming sponsorships when I started sponsorships, but I don't do them anymore because gaming sponsorships in particular were the most meticulous and demanding with what they wanted. I don't always know if it's the company or the third-party agent, but regardless, they were so taxing to do that the money wasn't worth it, especially when I'm not really much of a gamer anyway, so I didn't even play the games. Earlier this year, I got an offer from that one sponsorship for that one game that is basically a sponsorship meme now, and for one sponsorship, they offered me the equivalent of 4 months' rent. I was very tempted, and I initially broke to go with it because it felt stupid to turn that down, but then I saw the novella of a contract they gave me with the endless amounts of requirements. Aside from demanding specific gameplay footage, me making an account for them that of course I'd never actually use, they'd wanted a longer length sponsorship than usual, they wanted me to pin comments on the video and my channel page and my social media multiple times, They wanted me to make a YouTube short to upload a day after the video just to thank them and remind viewers of the offer. And of course, they wanted prior approval to all of those things. That and a bunch of other things. I just couldn't do it. And thankfully, I didn't sign the contract, and so I was able to pull out of the offer. Keep in mind too that I don't currently have an editor or a team helping me with my videos. It's just me, in case the MS Paint slideshow style videos didn't give it away already. Furthermore, another reason I pulled out of this offer is because in their contract, they also said the sponsorship couldn't be a part of a video talking about historical subjects involving controversial, political, or violent events. Hello? I'm a history channel. It's kind of near impossible to do that. Aside from it being frustrating that a sponsorship wanted to control what I say on my channel outside of the bounds of reason, it also implied that they don't seem to pay attention to who they give their sponsorships out to very well. Or maybe that was the agent, I have no idea. The other frustrating sponsorship thing is the compensation sponsorship. This could be in a contract, or it could be something that they try to pressure you into doing. Basically, if the original sponsorship doesn't get the views or clicks they want, and they gave you a flat rate, they want you to do a second sponsorship for free later on down the line as compensation. I naturally can't control how many people view my videos, so it sucks to be brought into this obligation just because the algorithm hated you that week. If it's in the contract you signed, of course, you have to do it. If not, there's this worry of if you don't do it, then what if they never sponsor you again? Don't you want to pay your bills? Just get it over with. So yeah, not fun. All of this to say, I'm glad I get sponsorships. I will still take them. I enjoy being able to pay my bills, but I wanted to talk about how they work so people can understand them better for transparency's sake, especially so that they understand it can be a double-edged sword. Sometimes it's money in exchange for frying your mental health for a week. That being said, my experiences probably differ from other YouTubers somewhat, especially ones much bigger than me or ones that are more companies themselves than individuals. But to add a variety of accounts to this video, I'll end this video with some testimonies from the Cynical historian and Mr. Beat about some of the stuff they've had to deal with involving sponsorships.
Hey, Safer here. I've certainly had my fair share of sponsors. I get about half a dozen offers a week. Most don't fit my educational channel, so I refuse, leaving a lot of money out. Some are particularly annoying, doing what they call circling back, and often demanding a reply, making it likely for me to put them in the spam folder. No solicitation email requires a response, and of the ones that I do accept, the power dynamic differs for each one. Many only go through agents, which makes it difficult to discern who requests what. Some are a delight to deal with, but others are exploitative or downright domineering, often in strange ways. Aside from that, I also reject sponsors I won't use myself, so VPNs besides the one I have myself, or mobile games, which those tend to be the most lucrative deals, are among those that I reject. They're simply unsuitable for my content, plus a lot of their contracts are ludicrously onerous. Some want exclusivity, which I deny. Others want to have a say in my content, which is absolutely forbidden. The most egregious example I've experienced was when I produced my review of The Outpost. Knowing YouTube would probably demonetize it, given that I had to talk about recent warfare and my involvement in it, I got a sponsor that perfectly fit. They agreed to the topic and even signed a contract. But when they saw the video, they said that they didn't want their product associated with terrorism. This was about the Afghanistan war, and they had already agreed to it in writing. Yet pulling out of that contract had no consequences for them, given their product literally includes parts of the Afghanistan war within its gameplay, and focuses on my particular specialty as a soldier. They are already quite well associated with what they deny. I have no idea what was going on there, but I stopped talking to that agency altogether. With a couple previous sponsors, they had made preposterous demands, so I wouldn't repeat that. On top of all these problems, delays from sponsors can really put an episode in limbo, forcing you to miss a release date. I'd rather only deal with ones I'm excited about. Unfortunately, with demonetization and uncertainties of YouTube's algorithm, sponsors are a necessary evil to make up for the lost revenue. But a contrary problem to all of this, there is a drop in viewership for each sponsor spot. So this can turn into a feedback loop of diminishing returns. Unless your channel is growing by leaps and bounds, taking sponsors is a bit of a predicament, no matter what the size of channel.
I generally do not like working with sponsors. I do it because I'm now a full-time YouTuber and it's out of necessity. So I'm very picky normally when it comes to sponsorships. I don't want to be like someone who, you know, comes across as not genuine, like you're promoting something you would never use yourself. So that said, I'm not much of a gamer, but I have had video game sponsors in the past. And of course, there's one notorious video game sponsor known as Raid Shadow Legends. I have never played that game, and my viewers actually specifically requested for me to never have them as a sponsor, but they just kept emailing me. They kept reaching out time and time again. And so one day I just thought it'd be kind of funny to have them as a sponsor, kind of as a joke. But I did it on my other channel, The Beat Goes On, and they didn't pay me very much. I think it was like $300 or less than that or something. And they had so many freaking demands. Like, they were very particular compared to most sponsors. It was just a pain. The communication was horrible. And yeah, you can tell by watching the video. I don't even remember which one it was, but you can watch it today. You can tell that like I purely was doing it for the money. I completely sold out, but also it was kind of a meme at that point, so it was kind of funny.
Thank you guys for watching this video. It was fun doing a random topic like this. Maybe I'll do more in the future. But for now, I'm Emperor Tiger Star, and I'll see you guys next time. Also, yeah, I finally got a new mic. Hope you like it. Bye.